Kamaditarangamage Kripamai Tung Sharanam Pravanam Vrinde Namaste Charanarindam Panchakalpatarvesha Kripasindhuvevacha Patitana Pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Shri Gaur Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So, I beg devotees' forgiveness for having to come out. It's freezing cold. It's like my sadhana to do this seva. So if devotees wanted to watch at home, I would not be angry at all because it's very cold. So, but I have to do this seva. And so, but anyway, forgive me and bear with me here. But I want to review what we did last week, of course, but one devotee, I haven't gotten her permission to say the name or their permission to say the name. But I don't know if she's on the phone yet either. But she wrote some questions, and I was just so overwhelmed during the week I didn't get a chance to to discuss back the questions with her. And so I asked her tonight for permission to just read them in class and to do them at the beginning so that I could go back over what we went through last week with something that I was unable to get to. And then there was another devotee who wrote in questions, but he's not, I don't know if he's in town or not, but anyway, I wrote him back, so I may not have to do those questions like in the class. So let me do these questions very quickly. If she's not on, then at least this recording is there, and then she could hear it recording.
A recording has started.
So the Didi asked, recently I have heard, and I was just discussing this earlier with Shamsundar Prabhu, Sanatan Prabhu. I recently heard that we should not worship or perform archan to Seva Kunj and Manjari's painting. Why is that? So, I only remember that Gurudev was visiting one home, and in the home of that devotee had Seva Kunj and Manjaris as their Thakurji for the altar. So there was Gurudev's pictures, everything, then they had the picture of Seva Kunj with Manjaris. And Gurudev mentioned then, this is not for archan. So that was my memory. From that basis, maybe she's also heard from others. I don't think I explained that to her, but she's probably heard from others that same thing. Sham Prabhu, of course, he's been to Braj many, many times, and in Rup Sanatan, Gaudiya Math, upstairs they actually have a separate altar for Seva Kunj. So it is not that Seva Kunj cannot be worshipped, but the mood of Seva Kunj is not really the mood of archan, according to how the archan marg has been set up for us to progress in bhakti. One part of the archan marg, which is explained in Ramananda Samvad, Nana Upachara Kritam. What is this? Nana Upachara Kritam. This is the verse right before Krishna Bhakti Bhavita Rasamati. This verse is describing Vaidhi Bhakti. And in Vaidhi Bhakti, or in our case, it's not pure Vaidhi Bhakti, but it is Raga Nuga Pravritti. So we're also performing the angas of Vaidhi Bhakti, but with the aspiration for Rag. So this is called Raga Nuga Pravritti, Gurudev says. In that mood, we'll still do a mixture of archan with the aspiration for really doing bhajan, because bhajan really means in Sanskrit, the dhatu for the word bhakti and worship in general, bhaj, means seva, right? Bhajan, bhaj dhatu iti sevayam. This is the definition given for the word bhaj. So the mood of Seva Kunj is really just that, is the mood of seva. Particularly, it would be monastic seva, which would be done in Ragmag, like Seva Sarika Rupena, Siddha Rupena Chatrahi. Who doesn't know what the verse is? Because then we'll explain the verse. This verse is in Rag Bhakti, Radhanuga Bhakti. Rupa Goswami gave two definitions. When it came to the chapter in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu on Radhanuga Bhakti, he described two verses. One is Krishna Smaram Janam Chasya, and the next verse was Seva Sarika Rupena Siddha Rupena Chatrahi. What this verse means is that there are two ways to serve Krishna in Rag Marg. In the sadhak group, which is the form that we have now in this world, one performs the angas of bhakti like hearing, chanting, etc., etc. But once one has at least come to the level of ruchi, because there's different steps in bhakti, from shraddha to sadhu sangha to bhajana kriya, anata nivritti, nishta, and then ruchi. So when there's some ruchi, some taste, then one can begin the process at that point of doing smaran of Krishna's lila. To do smaran, or real remembrance of Krishna's lila, there are two functions. One is called mantra may upasan. Mantra may upasan means Seva Kunj. It is a image of Krishna's lila, but like a photograph, like Seva Kunj. Because what is going on in Seva Kunj? Shamran, you explained many times, huh? So many things, but essentially Krishna is begging, right? So the verse in Gita Govinda, Smarana Kalana Kandanam Mamasina Simandanam Dehi Pada Palavam Uda. This verse is going on in this painting, right? So this is not really, like if you look at Takaji, the poses of the Takajis also have meaning. It wasn't random. Of that we could say, boy, everybody couldn't find a different pose to carve in. Now things got a little more, as time went on, they began to display different leelas. Like Kaliya dancing just the deity of Krishna, or like Prabhuji and his good wife, to have the deities of Radha, Vrindavan, and Natabar. To actually have the deity of dancing Krishna. So this came later on. But almost all original Thakujis had pretty much the Ashibad pose, the pose for doing Saranagati, right? Which is, with Radha and Krishna, they're giving one hand blessing and one hand telling to take shelter at their feet, to do Saranagati. In the case of Mahaprabhu, because Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur had the deities of Gaur, Radha, Krishna worship together, then this pose means Rasik Shekhar and Paramakarun. So with one hand, Mahaprabhu is tasting the mood of Radhika, and with the other hand, Paramakarun means he's distributing that mercy, like in the verse, Arnarpita Chirim Chidat Karunavati Nakalo. He's distributing this mood to so many fallen souls through his devotees. Right? I'm not going to detail that because we're good off course. But so each of the Takajis, they have a particular pose. This pose in Seva Kunj is really not in the realm of Archan Marg. Because in this pose, there is no position of Radhika saying to come take shelter at my feet. This pose is already those who are established to follow manjaris, who are on either side, to follow them in the mood of seva. Each of the manjaris has some seva implement in their hand, right? So those who are prepared by the nature of their advancement to mentally render service, seva sadika rupena. Those who, seva sadika rupena, siddha rupena chatri. Those who can contemplate, beginning in the stage of ruchi to some degree, contemplate their siddhadeha and how they're following manjaris, Guru Rupa Manjari, Guru Rupa Saki, Rupa Manjari under the gun of Lalita. They can begin to contemplate this type of seva in their mind. So Seva Kunj is really not meant for archin. Does anybody understand the difference? You can have on your altar, but it is not the main deity of worship on an altar. From what Gurudev told his devotee, what I'm understanding is this much. There may be occasions where Gurudev has allowed. So certainly in Rupa Sanatana Gaudiya Math, we have the example that though downstairs on the main altar, it's not there, upstairs is a separate section for that worship. Because this was also Gurudev's heart itself. And also Gurudev's mood. Dandavad Maharaj. I also mentioned before that our Srila Prabhupada, most other Gaudiya Maths, anywhere you go, ISKCON temple anywhere, almost all the deities pretty much have the same poses. Because these are the poses related to Archan Marg. You understand? So very seldom will you see any altar where you'll see this manifested. So really the altar this was intended for was the altar of the heart. This is called Hridoya Mandir. So Gurudev implanted this imagery right? Manifesting it through the purity and through the potency and purity of Shamarani Devi. Because Gurudev personally posed for that, but she told the story, a couple of festivals. He personally posed for many of those things. So Gurudev was revealing his heart through Shamarani and manifested this picture, just like Shamarani Devi painted so many pictures for Srila Prabhupada, he called windows to the spiritual world. So this is a window into Gurudev's heart. So this was to be a transmission from the heart of Gurudev to the heart of his disciples. So this was to be worshipped on the mandir or the altar of the heart. So it happens that by the mercy of Gurudev's Prabhu, his influence, it spread everywhere. So now you find Seva Kunj everywhere. Not only in Gurudev's Sangha, but everywhere, right? Everywhere they have Seva Kunj, right? So, but originally this was the intention. Yes, I agree. So this was the intention, that it would be worshipped on the altar of the heart, right? Hridoy Mandir. So that was the first question. Second question she had was, Sri Navadvip Mahatmya and other sastras, we find that chanting the names of Gauranga very quickly awards the achievement of Braj Dham, of Radha, Krishna, more than chanting the Mahamantra. I have to see that verse.
What was the question again?
The question is that in Navadvip Mahatmya, right? She finds, and some other sastras as well, the chanting of the names of Gauranga very quickly award achievement to Brajadam of Shri Radha Krishna. More so than chanting the Mahamantra. That I have to see the verses to see the context, because she didn't put the verses here. As it will take millions of lifetimes with the Mahamantra and only a few days with Gauranga's Nam. One thing to keep in mind, in Sastra there's something called Alankar. Alankar means embellishment to, and there's different kinds of Alankar in Sanskrit. So now there's one kind of Alankar, it is called, the English equivalent of it would be if you were describing something poetic and you said embellishing, but in Sanskrit there's a particular word for it in Sanskrit, Alankar. And this word means to embellish, like to say, and they cried a river of tears. Now nobody's cried a river of tears, but by that statement, by the poetry in that statement, you can understand the profuseness of an emotion and someone's sadness, perhaps. So in the same way, in Sastra, there is Alankar. So some Alankar is for the Mahima, or glorification of a particular thing. So in glorifying Gora and Gora Nam, there may be Alankar in any, like Navadvip Mahatmya, Godruma Kalpataru, many Sastras related to Gaura Lila, in which the glory of Gaura may be presented like this. Like Bhaktivinoda Thakur in one Sanjay Bhav, he wrote once that why only shallow-minded people will take shelter of Brajadam and Radhakund. Because those of high understanding, they will want to serve Srimati Radhika at Kurukshetra, because this is her, Kurukshetra meaning like Puri in contemporary terms, but at Kurukshetra, because at Kurukshetra is her greatest need. Is this the actual consistent Siddhanta of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, or is it a Sanchari Bhav? Sanchari Bhav means like a temporary feeling that overcame him while meditating on something. Certainly a Sanchari Bhav. So we have to be careful to be able to distinguish in reading Sastra what things are Alankar, what things are like Sanchari Bhavs, right? And the best way, the only way, not the best way, but the only way to do that is under guidance of someone of capable, equal level of realization to feel that. So you could go to Gurudev. I've seen that Bhaktivinoda Thakur wrote this statement. How do we to understand this? Is truly Kurukshetra a higher dham than Vrindavan? And Gurudev will explain that he did. No, this is Sanchari Bhav of Bhaktivinoda Thakur while meditating on that particular situation. When the Brijabasis came to Kurukshetra, not seeing Krishna for 75, 80 years, at that time, this is the first time they're seeing him. I'm not going into detail because this will also get us off course. This thing is called Samriddhiman Sambho. Each kind of meeting with Krishna has a kind of separation that precedes it. The kind of separation that precedes meeting at Kurukshetra is called Dura Pravas, Sudura Pravas. It means at a long distance for a very long time. So when they meet again after a very, very long time and at a great distance, the feeling is overwhelming. This is called Samriddhiman Sambho. Ujjani Lamani, all details are given of this thing. So, In that kind of sambol, the feelings are super flurried. We have not seen you. But at the end of that visit to Kurukshetra, did Krishna go back to Vrindavan? No. So imagine what Brijabasis felt like. Imagine especially what Gopi felt like. Krishna still did not return to Vrindavan. You understand? This is one secret of Bhagavad Gita. I don't want to get off course, but just as a nuance to tell that when the battle of Kurukshetra was about to take place, who became bewildered? Was it Arjuna or was it Krishna?
Krishna.
Yes. Why?
Because he was missing the gopis and he wanted to convey all of that. So he had Arjuna go through that pastime.
Yes.
And,
Exactly.
losing.
So, because Arjuna, he's already told, Arjuna and Krishna, their hearts are so close. So vicariously, right, almost like a proxy, Arjuna was feeling a sense of bewilderment looking at his relatives. Right? Had Arjuna ever fought with them before?
Yeah.
When?
When they, at the end of their 14 years.
Exactly. When they were staying in the kingdom of Maharaj Virat, and Duryodhana and Co. came and they stole the cows and everything of Maharaj Virat, Arjuna went, got his weapons, they fought valiantly. So now they've come to the battle of Kurukshetra, the biggest battle that's supposed to take place. This is like the Super Bowl of Kshatriya Dharma. You understand? So Arjuna, he's going to become bewildered at this time. He fought with his own son, the son of Ulupi, when he went to visit Nagalo. He fought in the heavenly planets. Arjuna will become bewildered in a battle? No. When Krishna came to this place, Krishna remembered, in this very place I met Brijabasis. In this very place I saw their hearts broken when they returned to Braj. Krishna became overwhelmed. Whole reason Krishna was driving a chariot was because of that. They tell the story in Mahabharata, I don't want to get too far off track, they tell the story in Mahabharata that both Duryodhana and Arjuna came to Krishna. Right? Arjuna went to the feet of Krishna, began to massage his feet. Duryodhana went by his head thinking, as soon as he wakes up, he'll look up and see me. Understand? And whoever he sees first can make the request. What they wanted? Oh, Krishna, you'll fight on my side and you'll bring your army with you. So Arjuna had not this purpose in his heart, but Duryodhana had this purpose. So, of course, when Krishna opened his eyes, because Arjuna was at his feet, he saw Arjuna first. So the first bidding went to Arjuna. Arjuna said, oh, I don't want anything. Only that you will be with me. So Krishna said, well, I will not give you my armies, everything then. Arjuna said, I don't need any armies, anything. I also will not fight or take up any weapons. Arjuna said, I don't need this. Only that you will be there. Duryodhana thought, oh my God, I hit the lottery. Even he didn't have to ask, and immediately already everything is arranged. You'll have Krishna and the whole army, everything. Oh, I'm good to go. So he left very happy. But why Krishna did not take up any weapons, why he would not fight? Gurudev told this katha before. He became the chariot driver of Arjuna because when Brijabasis came to Kurukshetra, Krishna was sitting in the assembly hall. And when the Brijabasis, when they arrived at the gate, because they came uninvited, Krishna purposely did not invite them. Gurudev also told this. Your own near and dear family, do they need to be invited to come to some place where you are? No. To all the other royal people around the world, invitations were sent out. To Brijabasis, no invitation sent. But they didn't need invitation because they are the true Nija Jana of Krishna, the true heart of Krishna. So they came automatically. When they came to the gate, then the gatekeepers looking on the guest list, I don't see any Nandas, Yashodas, this one, that one. I heard boys not all came. They stayed back to God project. I don't see all these people. Right? So messengers immediately ran and they told Krishna, oh, Nanda Maharaj, Yashoda Ma, and all Brijabasis have come. They're standing at the gate. Krishna immediately jumped up from the assembly hall and running came to that gate crying, Maya, Maya, Maya. You understand? His royal cloth, his dress fell off, his crowns, everything fell off. So when he got to the gate, the servants, right, they're running behind him, picking up all of his royal dress. When he got to the gate, they came and they began to reattach all of his dress. He was so oblivious seeing the Brijabasis, he didn't know what Seva was going on to him. So when Brijabasis saw this, especially gopis, in their hearts came one verse which appeared in the heart of Madhavendra Puripad. Ai dina dayadranata maturanata karvalokshaye. This verse is saying, oh, we came here after being destitute for so many, many years in your absence. And before, whenever we would be suffering this type of separation, when you were in Braj, because you're Dina Dayadranat, means you're so kind to the fallen, immediately you would respond. Somehow or another, it would be arranged that we would meet. But now, for so long, you've not done this. And now we can understand why. Because now you're Maturanat. Now you're a prince, you're a king. You have your own kingdom and so many city friends and city ladies. So no need for, if you read not Prem Samput, if you read Hangsaduta of Rupa Goswami, you can get some image of what the mood of this thing is. It's a very small book, it's not a big book. If you read this book, you'll get some idea what mood was in their heart for Krishna separation. In this book, Hangsaduta of Rupa Goswami Pad. So they're saying now, you're like a king, prince, we can understand. And we don't want to disturb you. Like one verse in Hangsaduta, Lalita Sakti is talking to one swan, and she tells the swan, to, long story short, to go to Mathura to give this message to Krishna. But if you see that Krishna is happy there, don't speak our message to him. Because we don't want him to become unhappy. And so this is their mood. Only for Krishna is happy. Last verse of Gopi Gita. Yatesu jata charanam buranam staneshu. This verse is all about the fact they have no concern for their own happiness. This is what forced Krishna to appear after the whole Gopi Gita. So, here the gopis completely unconcerned for their own happiness. They say, oh, now you're Maturanata. So now as Maturanata, perhaps you don't have time for us everything. So Krishna remembered all of these things. So when he came back to Kurukshetra, in this very place, all of those kind of transcendental emotions took place. Krishna was unaffected. And if you read Gita Mahatmya, what is the main verse of Gita Mahatmya? It's one verse glorifying Bhagavad Gita. Sava Upanasada Bhavo Dukta Gopalanandana Partha Vatsa Sudhir Bhokta. The actual person speaking Bhagavad Gita, this one article by Param Gurudev also wrote called Atmanivedanam. So you could see it in that article. The actual person who spoke Bhagavad Gita was not Vasudeva Krishna, but was Vrajendranandan Krishna. You understand? Vrajendranandan Krishna speaking. And what is the role of Arjuna? Partha Vatsa. Vatsa means a calf. When you want to milk a cow, how do you milk the cow? You bring the calf, and then automatically the cow gives so much milk. So they used Arjuna as a calf. Sudhir Bhokta means so that all of those great devotees, those Mahatmas, right, they could taste the real nectar of Gita by Krishna using Arjuna to milk his own heart in catharsis of his meeting with Brijabasis at Kurukshetra and being unable to satisfy them by going back. And the pain and anxiety, everything that was felt, transcendental separation mood, Krishna is expressing in coded language in Bhagavad Gita. Understand? So this is the whole secret of Bhagavad Gita. So, in relation to Didi's original question, in Mahaprabhu's Lila, Gauranam may be glorified because of the Mahima of Alankar. But the instructions of Mahaprabhu is to do what? Chaitanya Bhagavat also. He told you chant this mantra, a fixed number. It's written in Chaitanya Bhagavat also. Not just chant, but a fixed number. Right? It's written in, and all Goswamis echoed this. They could have said, Goswamis also, Raghunath Das Goswami has no realization of Gauranam. He could have also written in so many places, the real methodology is Gauranam. But Gaur Siksha is more powerful. Because Gauranam is not different from Gaur. And if you love someone, following their instructions is higher, or just repeating their name. If you love someone. If you love someone, following their desire is more important. You understand? Mahaprabhu used this very thing to Gadadhar Pandit. When Gadadhar Pandit wanted to go with him, Mahaprabhu allowed him to break his Setra Sannyas by leaving Puri. But at a certain point he said, you should go back. And then he gave the argument, look, if you really love me, you should do what I desire. So this argument, Mahaprabhu has asked us to chant Krishna Nam. Now the argument is that may take millions of lifetimes. Well, Raghunath Das Goswami gave the answer to that. Right? Yadi Chair Rajavasam Saragam Prati Janur. If you want to obtain Braj with rag in your heart. You should be prepared, Pratijanur, to spend life after life after life after life in pursuit of this thing. You understand? Because it's not, I was never able to really accomplish becoming a millionaire businessman. I never did make it in movies. I wasn't able to really get on any good sports team. So at least I could do since I decided to go spiritual is get that highest thing. So it's not a transition of our desires, but it's the mood of wanting to love and serve Bhagavan. So his desire is paramount. This is the whole meaning of Anukulyena Krishna Anusilanam. All desires, all endeavors are for Krishna's Kalyan, Anukul, what is happiness for Krishna. So for this reason, though Gaur Nam is very powerful. Second part of her question is regarding chanting Gaur Nam and the Maha Mantra together. So she mentions one devotee used to do like this. While other devotees are chanting Hare Krishna, that devotee would chant Gaur Nam. Like as the leader, he would chant Gaur Nam and they would respond Hare Krishna mantra. But I have not seen anywhere in Sastra or heard any Acharya can confirm this is.
Is that Jai Sachinanda, Nityananda, Patita Bhavana, Gaur Chanda?
No.
What is
If you're reciting any Gaur Nam, like Nityananda Prabhu used to sing, what is this? Bhajan. Bhaja Gauranga Ka Gauranga Laha Gauranga Namure. He used to sing this bhajan, Nityananda. But Nityananda is not given any instruction, you sing this. Right? Bhaja Gauranga, worship Gauranga. How you worship Gauranga? By following Gauranga Mahaprabhu's instruction. And Gauranga Mahaprabhu is telling, Chiraratadam Nijagupta Vitam Swanama Premamrita Atyudhara. In the Nam that was bought from Golok Vrindavan by me, it is directly Radha Krishna themselves in Nam, along with their praying. That doesn't happen every Kali Yuga. So I bestowed this gift of Nam, Swanama Prema Amrita. I've given this secret in the name, that he's put praying in the name. And not like even in other ages, he's saying in Shishastakam, because Mahaprabhu only gave 8 prayers, but Shishastakam, Nam Nam Akari Bahudan Nija Sarva Shakti. All the power of everything I've also invested in this name. And there's no hard and fast rules for how you chant it. So Mahaprabhu will give everything regarding Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Understand? But someone can then think, Gauranga Mahaprabhu was so merciful that he did this. Gauranam. No harm. Now as far as chanting them together, Gurudev was very specific. We don't chant Gaura or Nitai Gaur and Radha Krishna together because there's some rasabas.
But some of the later initiated devotees said they had it. We were not.
Sri Krishna Chaitanya? Gurudev, I directly heard him say it was rasabas.
He said, did I tell you? When some people asked, he said, I didn't tell you that. Do what I say. But then I was asking some of the devotees, they said, I'm sorry.
You okay?
They were giving, that. I'm okay.
I'll repeat for the microphone.
Okay. Well,
push the button. It's not on.
Well, I had some of the devotees, later on telling me they were giving some piece of paper, which we were not giving. But they said they had that instruction that they should chant.
Sri Krishna Chaitanya.
Yes.
Not with Hare Krishna. No harm to chant Sri Krishna Chaitanya. Before we start,
In the
beginning, before we start our Nam every day,
We
we say Stavan Stuti. And in a Stavan Stuti is also glorification of Mahaprabhu, directly Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda. We also chant. Even our Srila Prabhupada, from what I understand, Pranti Didi, you can correct me, it may be incorrect, but I think Srila Prabhupada used to chant that in the beginning before chanting Hare Krishna. After explaining the glories of Gauranga Mahaprabhu, many devotees thought, wow, if Mahaprabhu is so merciful, right, every round before I chant, I'll chant Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda. I'm not sure. But I heard from some that this is how it became a practice to chant in between each round. I also think that when some devotees approach Srila Gurudev initially with this idea, Gurudev somehow thought they were chanting them together. And that wasn't the case. They were chanting in between rounds.
Yes.
You understand? So that was one thing. But then Gurudev gave oral general to be careful, because the mood in Gaur Lila with Pancha Tattva is different from the mood imbibed in Hare Krishna. And if you're chanting Hare Krishna with Sambandha Gyan, with the aspiration of attaining a particular goal, then that requires a kantic mood of focus. A kantic means one-pointed. One-pointed kind of focus. Right? So if you're trying to obtain, according to, especially if you're initiated devotee, second initiation, and you've received some idea what the Sambandha Gyan, you're not just chanting Hare Krishna as a methodology to become free from suffering. Right? That part is a byproduct of chanting Hare Krishna. We're chanting Hare Krishna because in Nam, which is non-different from Radha and Krishna themselves, right? Name and possessor of the name are non-different. The potency of that Nam, as I do Guru Seva, get Vaishnav Kripa, unfolds as the methodology through what Swarup Shakti is traveling. That Swarup Shakti, just like taking a match, right? Good example. The Olympic torch, right? When they do the Olympics, right, the torch is lit somewhere else, right? Then they run, get on a boat, I don't know, they can't get on a plane, I'm sorry. I forgot to do, but they run, they do all kinds of things, right? Then they finally get to the stadium, right? This is a Shakti stage. They finally get to the stadium, they're still running, then they run up to the big thing, right? Pow, put the torch in there and the whole thing ignites. Right? So in the same way, all the different practices related to bhakti are like the torches of Swarup Shakti, which come to ignite the heart of the jiva. In the jiva's constitution, and we'll get to the second part of the class from last week, in the constitution of the jiva, that Swarup Shakti, the prabhav, the influence of it, is dormant. So once the lighting is put on there, that thing erupts, right? Mahaprabhu gave this example when talking to Sanatana Goswami Pad, right? So we're chanting with one-pointed vision. So if we're practicing, I will take God's name, that He'll be merciful to me, to enter into the depth of Sri Nam, right? This is one mood. But if you're chanting, I'll just put all these names together. Mahaprabhu's name works really quickly, like, painkiller or something. And then I'll do the Harinam, because the Harinam is the thing you got to do, right? This is the methodology. Like I told you, actually, Sanatan can almost be a witness. We had two devotees many years, this is 30 years ago, 20 years ago, when we had the restaurant in D.C. There were two brothers. They used to sit in front of the wall, and they would chant right up against the wall, loudly, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. And the sound would reverberate off the walls, right? So, we was asked one day, Prabhu, why this type of chanting? He said, because you only need one pure name. So I'm taking a chance that it'll double up, because when I recite it off the wall, I said one, the wall reverberates it back, so it doubles my chances. You can't be mad at that, because he's trying. You understand? He's trying. You understand? But the concept was that the name is like it's like a mechanism to get you free. But Nam is Radha Krishna. So the mood of approach is Seva. Ata Shri Krishna Namani Nabhavat Grayamindriya. By Grayamindriya, or even material intelligence, you can't map out a science of how I'm going to use the name to get free. The name will bestow its mercy when Guru and Vaishnava have given their kripa. For this reason, Bhaktivinoda Thakur is singing, Krishna say tomorrow, Krishna Ritipara, Tomar Sapatiyache. Oh Vaishnava Thakur, you have Krishna, and you have the power to give him. Me, myself, Ekaki Amar Nahi Pai Bal. I don't have, Bal means power, strength. I don't have in my own self the power to do Harinam. You understand? So Harinam is not like a tool. Harinam is Radha Krishna bestowed by Guru, right? And then filled with Swarup Shakti as we advance in the mood of Seva towards Guru, Vaishnava, etc. Then the heart begins to open up and the Swarup Shakti invested in Nam begins to execute its prabhav on the jivas, a dormant consciousness. And that dormant consciousness begins to rise. Just like somebody sleeping very deeply, right? Sometimes you say, hey, wake up. Not good enough. Wake up, wake up, wake up. You understand? So gradually the influence becomes stronger and stronger, and then they're just, oh. So this is Nam. And it's Radha and Krishna themselves. Because gradually this Nam, according to Rupa Goswami, Tan Nama Rupa Charit Adi Sukirtananu. By doing Sukirtan of this Nam in a crumb, in a progression, gradually it will reveal first the Rupa of Krishna, then the Gun of Krishna, then the Parikas of Krishna, then the Leela of Krishna, like this. So this Nam is actually Radha Krishna themselves. It's not a methodology. Understand? For this reason, we will follow the instruction of Mahaprabhu. We'll chant Harinam. We can do in our Stav and Stuti the glorification of Gauranga Mahaprabhu, how merciful, and certainly chant Panchatattva Mahamantra. But our acharyas have not mixed them together like this, so we'll follow closely what our acharyas have done. Last question. When it comes to accepting more advanced Vaishnavas or Vaishnavi as our Siksha Guru, do we need to ask their permission from that Vaishnava first to be our Siksha Guru, or is it sufficient just to follow them? So this is depending, because the relationship with Guru period is really organic, right? It's also not strategized. Strategized, look, okay, I want you to be my Siksha Guru. What time do you have? Can I have your schedule, please? Etc., etc. So the relationship is organic, right? Heart relationship. Because it's based on affection. Swajatya snigdha mahatra sadhu sangha. Rupa Goswami is written like this. It should be swajatya. Of course, that Guru should have realization of the mood you aspire for. Snigdha. They should have affection for you. There are many Vaishnavas. You may meet a Vaishnava and they may have adar, means respect. You're trying to practice bhakti. But you may not feel an excessive flow of affection from them. It's not a fault in them. You understand? It's the nature that organically someone may have a natural kind of more affection for you. Right? You don't hate all human beings, but you find a natural affection in friends, relatives, etc. So also Guru and realized souls are not mechanical. They're merciful to everyone. Like I remember one year we went to Bahulasmi. This is before I was in Gurudev Sangha. So this is in the late 70s or something, maybe 80s. We did Bahulastami at Radha Kunj at midnight. So this one year, one devotee there, Dinabandhu Prabhu, and we can offer some prayer for him because I think he had some health issue or something. So we're praying that everything will be okay for Dinabandhu Prabhu. Anyway, that year, myself, Ayendra, Dinabandhu Prabhu, and some others, we said, he said, let's go. I want to take you somewhere. And what he did was he took us to see all the Mahants of Radha Kunj. So some of them, they just give Asibad, some spoke a few words in Brijbhasa, Hindi, or so forth like that. So like this we went around. So in all these different Vaishnavas, certainly they're merciful. So everybody who came, they were giving some blessing. But if you went to try to be with one of them, there have to be a natural kind of relationship where you come and that, he can understand you understand him, and you understand what I'm saying? It's not just axiomatic that because a person's a pure devotee, that is everybody. Anybody who comes, it's the same kind of relationship. Like, almost, if to some degree you're actually deeply a disciple of Gurudev, that spot of your heart can't be replaced. You understand? Shiksha Guru will come and they will nourish that space, but the space itself can never be filled. And the reason for that is because that space is the space for Virohe Bhav from Gurudev. Because the disciple or the aspirant doesn't have separation mood from Gauranga Mahaprabhu or Radha Krishna. Because we've never had darshan of Gauranga Mahaprabhu or Radha Krishna. Maybe, I cannot speak for everybody. I'm speaking in general. Right? I thought I did one time. I'm not telling this story here. I had my flowers on my altar every night. I take the flowers off, And Krishna's darshan comes in stages. So first, sometimes the aroma of Krishna's body will come. Sometimes you may hear Krishna's fluting. So I put the flowers, what are those flowers really fragrant? Gardenias, yeah. I put them on the nightstand near the bed. So of course you go to sleep. I woke up in the middle of the night. I didn't even put the flowers there. I said, maybe it's happening. This is it. Understand? Because your wife, she brings you back down to earth. No, it's the flowers. They're right there in the nightstand. No, she didn't say it like that, but you get the idea. Anyway, so like this, it should be an organic kind of natural relationship. But we should have Vaishnava Dar for all Vaishnavas, and according to their category, we should offer appropriate dealings. Because if we offer equal dealings for all Vaishnavas, this is also another form of aparad actually. So anyone is recognized, be Mahabhagavad Vaishnava, there'll be a certain kind of a dar. Remember, dar means respect, everything. For that Vaishnava, all of the Vaishnavas will also honor. Like that. Mm-hmm.
Well, it's actually also been explained that, again, we speak about,
all right, hold on. Sham's getting the microphone. Okay.
was it Guru Seva Vasana?
Krishna Seva Vasana.
Krishna Seva Vasana, yeah, because that particular person that's coming is coming to attract those that are in line with him. Mm-hmm. So obviously some affection or deeper affection will be there. Mm-hmm. Though so many may be able to get some kind of mercy from that personality, but this is just like in line with Swadyatya Snigdasha.
Right.
Being affected of the same mood. It's going to be, like you said, it's a natural, it's going to be an organic thing. Right. Because this is what's there in the jiva. Right. When we talk about the different swarups and, the whole analogies we gave, or give.
Right. So. Right. Exactly. If you didn't hear, Sham was mentioning that our running into a particular sadhu was also not accidental, more or less paraphrasing. It's also, directed because that Vaishnava has a particular relationship with the jiva. And so there'll be a natural affection there. And we have not come to that Vaishnava by accident because the particular mood we aspire for is not accidental. So everything is kind of organized in such a way for our advancement by Krishna himself. So last week, it was the end of the...
I tend to think of Shiksha Guru as besides that formal understanding of whatever Shiksha Guru, something formal, I think of it as anybody who gives me any instruction, any class giver, anything I get some inspiration from, that person is a type of Shiksha Guru. Yes. So that's correct. Because sometimes when the discussion happens, like it happened in a class, an nectar of instruction class, when it came to the Guru part, it seems like people were using the word differently, and oftentimes they're meaning it a more formal relationship that has evolved with the Shiksha Guru, and it got kind of confusing. But it is correct to think that anybody who you receive is a Shiksha to some degree.
In general, we're using it in a loose sense that way. In Bhakti Sandarbha, Jiva Goswami describes Shiksha Guru should be equal to Diksha Guru. Yes. So everybody we hear from is not equal to Diksha Guru. So in the true sense of the word, according to Mahaprabhu's definition, according to Jiva Goswami Bhakti Sandarbha, not everybody is truly Shiksha Guru. Really what is an underused word, but is more apropos in this instance, is Vatma Pradaksha Guru. Vatma Pradaksha Guru means who's pointing the way on the path.
That's not just an initial person?
No.
Anybody. Okay.
How long is the path?
Okay.
That's nice. Is that really? So people are giving instruction according to where you are on the path and where they are on the path. That's also still really Vatma Pradaksha Guru. But we've generalized Shiksha Guru to mean that. But technically in Sastra it says, Jiva Goswami said, Shiksha Guru, Diksha Guru must be equal. Right?
So what about
even Chaitanya Charitamrita, that shloka is there. Shiksha and Diksha Guru are one with different functions.
Yes. So then when you get, is it considered Shiksha when you get something from your various partners, Pujashika Guru, sometimes you get something which you know is really coming from your Guru through this instrument. Yes. And it's inspirational. Do you consider that Shiksha even though the person
it is Shiksha, because Shiksha means instruction.
Okay.
Like the 24 Gurus, chapter Bhagavatam, he's receiving Shiksha from so many different things. Okay. But he cannot compare the birds, right, to his Guru Dev. Okay. Or a snake to his Guru Dev, or this to his Guru, you understand? Yeah. But he received instruction from there. Like Suniti and Dhruva Maharaj. Suniti doesn't tell Dhruva Maharaj, look, calm down, these things happen in life. But if you really want to have a kingdom greater than that of your father, the only place to do that, and the only person to get it from is Bhagavan. Was there any instruction deeper than that? In one sense? So that instruction was the key to everything for Dhruva Maharaj. Understand? So now Dhruva Maharaj could go to the forest, and Narada Muni will come and test, and then the whole Dhruva Charit will unfold. But that instruction though we don't consider Suniti to be like Gurudev, that instruction is the prime instruction to get Dhruva Maharaj in the path of pure devotion. For this reason, he said when going back home, back to Vaikuntha, what he said, I cannot forget my mother. Yeah? She gave the essential instruction. Bilbo Mongol Thakur, whom did he glorify? Chintamani. Because she gave such essential instruction. But she has no comparison to his Gurudev. Alright. Last week's class we talked about about conceptions coming from Vedanta, which had been explained by Jiva Goswami. The 4 conceptions are Anadi, Anitya, Ananta, and Nitya. Anadi simply means something that has no beginning, but it does have an end. Anitya means something that has a beginning and it has an end. So Anitya means all the material phenomena, because everything in the material world has a beginning and it has an end. The conditional life of the jiva has no beginning, but it has an end. Like Krishna say, Buli Jeev, Anadi Bahirbhok. This word Anadi is used. Condition of the jiva is Anadi, without beginning, but it has an end. The word Ananta means something which has a beginning, but has no end. This is the liberation of the jiva. Jiva Goswami is telling this science. Right? The jiva's liberation has a point when he meets Guru. Right? Guru Krishna Prasade Bhai Bhakti Lada Beach. When he meets Guru after wandering throughout so many universes, Brahmanta Brahmati Konya Bhagwan Jeev, he meets Guru at that time, his process of liberation starts. Right? But it will have no end. It will simply unfold unlimitedly. Even if he doesn't complete it in one life, he'll pick up in the next life where he or she left off. And there's never any diminution. Right? This verse is there in Bhagavad Gita. Whatever you do genuinely on the path of liberation, it's permanent. You can't close a chapter on that again. Okay? So, this is called Ananta. Nitya means what has no beginning and no end. What is Nitya? The soul itself. The jiva himself and his constitution is Nitya. Has no beginning and no end. Right? Then we discussed from Mahaprabhu's verse, Jivera Sarup Hoye Krishnera Nitya Das, right? Jivera Tatasta Shakti Beda Be Prakash. The jiva has 2 things. One is his constitution. In his constitution, he is Nitya Das of Krishna. Right? Our acharyas then go on to flush that out more, saying that the dashood that we have to Krishna is invested with everything, including our swarup, everything. Is there in the constitutional das nature we have. The influence of that nature, right, is dormant. Why is it dormant? Because the appropriate prabhav or influence of Swarup Shakti is not there on the jiva. You understand? The power of Swarup Shakti is not exerting its influence on the jiva. Therefore, he can't understand his dormant constitutional nature. Right? Next, Krishna is saying the reason this happens is because, or Chaitanya was saying, the reason this happens is because the jiva also is one of my shaktis called Tatashta Shakti. The true name for it is called Jiva Shakti. The Jiva Shakti is Tatashta. So the words are being used interchangeably. You understand this?
Sometimes it gets used to mean eternal associates, but that's not a correct.
What, Tatashta Shakti?
No, Jiva Shakti.
No. Jiva Shakti is a Shakti of Bhagavan. This Jiva Shakti functions according to what influence is inspired on it. Those jivas who are fully endowed with Swarup Shakti in the manner of serving Krishna in Vrindavan, they manifest from Baladev in Vrindavan.
But you just said jivas though. You just said the word.
They're Jiva Shakti. They're Jiva Shakti. But not all in Nitya Siddha. Those jivas, right, in Jiva Shakti, whom are serving Lord Narayan in Vaikuntha, they manifest from Shankarshan in all the Vaikuntha planets.
So, and you say they're Jiva Shakti.
They're all Jiva Shakti.
But Jiva Shakti and Tatashta Shakti are not the same.
I'm explaining next.
Okay.
Those jivas who are from the Jiva Shakti but have manifest from Mahavishnu, their nature is called Tatashta Swabhav. So there are some jivas who are eternally in love with Krishna. That's not going to change. Because remember, what is eternal can't be flipped around. Once you expose to Krishna, you can't say, well, I don't know. We've been here for a long time now. Everything is cool. But I just heard that there's another place. I just want to check it out. Right? Don't judge me. I just want to check it out. Okay? It's also part of your creation. Don't be mad at me. Right? It's not like that. Once that's there, the influence of Swarup Shakti is so dominant, there's no other consideration but servicing Goloka Vrindavan or Vaikuntha.
But they are different from, isn't there another category of beings that are just coming directly from Balaram's body and Radharani's body?
That's a different thing.
Category.
All the bodies, this is one question that devotee asked me, I told you I wrote in. He asked that question. Those jivas who are Nitya Siddha in the spiritual world, all the bodies of those jivas are manifest by Sandini Shakti. That Sandini Shakti is under the control of Baladev. Krishna has his own Antakaran, means Dham, Vasudev, Kinkani, and one other. Stoka. They're the Antakaran. Antakaran means Krishna's own mental mind, his mindset, so to speak. Radhika's expansions are called her Kaya Vyuha. Right? The 8 Paramapresta Sakis, Lalita, Vishaka, Chitra, Champakalata, Sudevi, Rangadevi, Induleka, Tungavijaya, they are manifest as different mental attitudes of Radhika. So they're expansions of Radhika's own body. This, different people have different takes on. All the Manjaris, certainly Rup and Rati Manjari, are the Rup of Radhika and the Rati of Radhika. Others expand that and say that Guna Manjari, Gopal, Bhatta Goswami, is the Gun of Radhika. Vilas Manjari, Jiva Goswami is the Vilas of Radhika. Lavanga Manjari means her beauty is Sanatana Goswami Pad. So they also consider Kaya Vyuha of Radhika. All other bodies they are manifest from Sandini Shakti, including the body of Madhya Yashoda, the body of Maharaj Nanda, etc. Sandini Shakti is the substance of the spiritual realm. Right? Now, the jivas who are manifest there also manifest from Sandini Shakti, their bodies. Their swarup of their bodies is Sandini Shakti. Right? In Vaikuntha, they're manifest from Shankarshan. In this world, they have Tatashta Swabhav. Tatashta Swabhav simply means the tendency to go one way or another. That's what Tatashta means. When they describe it as a place, it means Tata, a border between the spiritual and the material world. The word sta means situated. So that line of demarcation, which is situated as a border between spiritual and material, is called the Tata. The jivas manifest from Mahavishnu, who are also part of Krishna's Jiva Shakti, but devoid of the influence of Swarup Shakti, are called Tatashta jivas.
So how does that go with supposedly Krishna has 3 energies or whatever it is, 3? The internal, the external, and the marginal.
Right. So, Krishna has one energy functioning in unlimited ways. 3 primary. Right? These 3 primary ways are Antaranga, internally, Bahiranga, the external world, and the marginal. The Jiva Shakti manifest from Mahavishnu is part of that marginal energy that Krishna displays and manifests jivas from. Like here's it is. He takes the Jiva Shakti and divides it in those divisions, except it's not in Bahya Ranga Shakti, because there's no jivas composed of the material world. The material world can't even touch the jiva. Nobody here is actually mixed with the material energy. Only thing that's mixed is the identification. How does this happen? I explained many times. Even if you watch a movie, right? You become absorbed by consciousness in looking at the screen, a certain drama or activity or whatever is played out on the TV screen, and you identify with it because you invest your emotions through your senses in that movie playing on the screen. Now, LG, RCA, Toshiba, and all the major companies don't have any near the power that Mahamaya does. Therefore, even if they make surround sound, super 3D, all of that, it cannot absorb you like Mahamaya can. Mahamaya has 5 things. Like in a TV you buy now, they have what is it called, 1080p? I don't know. 1080p, it's like really good imagery or whatever. Pixels, yeah. It's like it makes the screen super clear, right? Maya has also 5 things. Avidya, Asmita, Rag, Dvesh, Abhinivesh. These are her pixels, right? And when she puts that on the jiva, he not only thinks he's looking at the screen, but he thinks, I'm in the movie. You understand? And this has been going on anadi, since time without history. So he thinks I'm in this movie. So, and in the movie, right, I'm starred first in one role, I was so-and-so, then that ends, right? Then I'm in another role as so-and-so, and we're always the star of our own movie, so you don't have to worry about the Oscar. You can give yourself the Oscar every year, because you're the star of your own movie, right? So this has been going on from time immemorial. We've been just starring in a movie. What happens when the Guru comes is this is the reason it is called Bahir Mukata. Bahir Muk means the face is turned towards the chitta, the screen of consciousness that Mahamaya is showing this film on. When Gurudev comes, he breaks your concentration first on looking at the screen. Their Harikata first, you're looking at the screen, it breaks the concentration. You don't first look inwards and see everything, but your concentration is broken. So now Maya's influence, her Prabhav influence is broken. Now, what Gurudev is speaking as Harikata is also a Shakti. What kind of Shakti is Gurudev's Harikata? Swarup Shakti. So now that Swarup Shakti, back to our example of the torch, starts to come. And now you see the torch come into the stadium. So the first thing that happens even before you become on fire is that illumination takes place. So all of a sudden now in your consciousness, there's different kinds of illumination. Oh, I'm not just this body. That's like an intellectual illumination. There's more to life than just eating, sleeping, mating. Wow, that's an illumination. We actually have another existence. Wow, another illumination. And like this, stacked one after another, are different illuminations as the torch becomes brighter and brighter and moves closer and closer. When we come in contact with the torch, realization, vibhuti, takes place. So then we hear the Harikata and realization simultaneously takes place. So the illumination now also is not just illumination, it's heat. Because fire has 2 elements, right? Illumination and heat. But we cannot feel the influence of Swarup Shakti like the heat. That's why we cannot sit and meditate on Seva Kunj. Because the heat of the illumination hasn't taken place yet. You understand? You get the parallel? Yeah. The realization hasn't taken place yet. But the illumination to some degree is there. We're seeing there's such a thing as Seva Kunj. Mm-hmm.
Could we...
Would that be...
Just pushing it over.
Push it.
It'll turn green.
I think it's about to go.
Oh, it's gone? I'll repeat it.
No, I got it.
Okay.
My question is, that particular verse that we hear, Om Agyan Tamrandasya, when the Guru gives us the torchlight, could that also be referred to that?
That's a perfect example. Perfect example. That shlok embodies that idea. Om Agyana Timirandasha. Timra means darkness. So of those whose consciousness is dark, Gurudev brings the torchlight of Gyan. Right? So Salaka is actually in Ayurveda, Salaka is actually an instrument. When they perform an eye operation in Ayurveda, they take an instrument and put it on your eye, and it keeps the eye open so it doesn't close. So when Gurudev is administering the light of knowledge, Salaka also means to open the eye and keep it open. It's one meaning of the word Salaka in Sanskrit dictionary. Yeah? So those who are covered by darkness, Gurudev illumines their consciousness, right, by first opening their eyes. First opening is, you're not this body. Stop looking at the screen. Don't believe the hype. That's the urban version of Om Agyan. The urban version is don't believe the hype, right? So you stop looking at the screen and everything, and your concentration is broken from Maya. Now Maya, proportionate to the influence of the internal energy, submits. Because Maya's job was to only engage you for as long as you were Bahir Mukata. When Gurudev starts to turn your consciousness back, Maya backs off. Right? Because now the duty of Antaranga Shakti is beginning to take over. The Jiva is not independent, so he cannot be without shelter in either Maya or internal energy. So proportionate to the influence of Antaranga Shakti, then Maya starts to back off. So we begin to feel a freedom. Other than that, how can you have been doing all kinds of things and suddenly follow 4 regular principles? We wouldn't. How could in our background we've been able to do that? It's not a logical thing. You understand? Because if you grew up in the Western world, you did everything pretty much. And not everybody, but for the most part. You know, especially if you were urbanite, so to speak, you did everything. So then you join the movement in a very short time. Even if you struggle, most people still obey those 4 regular principles. What was the power to do that? Why couldn't we stop doing that in the material world? Because I know I was doing some things, I just wanted to stop it while I was in the material world. Right? But you can't. But in the association of devotees and under the influence of Swarup Shakti, now you can give up all these things? How is it possible? This is the influence of Swarup Shakti. This is one of the interesting things about Sankirtan also. I'm not glorifying all of the elements that may have taken place in Sankirtan. I'm talking about the phenomenon itself. To have a person get off of an airplane, come to you and buy a book from you and give you $20 for a book about a blue boy and the other world and everything, say, oh, okay, and give you a donation, that's not in this domain of the material energy. Because the material energy, his intelligence, what? I have no relation to this. If you sold me a book about this or something I was interested in, it's a different thing. But you just showed me, and not for $1, for $20. Right? You just sold me a book about a blue boy. In fact, they're on the cover here. I don't even know if it's 2 girls or not. Right? They don't even have a car. They're driving a chariot like back in the olden days. So all kinds of things going on. I just paid $20 for it, and I'm walking out the airport with it. That's the influence of Swarup Shakti as a Gyata Sukriti on any jiva. It's the power of Swarup Shakti. And from that point, their concentration, there's a crack. Understand? Your TV could still work. The chitta of your material influence can still work, but there's a crack in the screen. Then the person looks at the book or reads the book, the crack in the screen becomes big. Eventually, the TV breaks. Your chitta TV breaks. Now you're sitting there, what am I going to do? I can't be without any kind of engagement or any kind of enjoyment. All right, I'll start getting into this other thing. Because the other thing, the waves of the other thing are still broadcasting. You're not this body. You're having a feast at the temple. Then you go to the temple and take prasadam. Right? You have your first pakoras and halava and so forth back in the day. That was, right? And then you're done. You're pretty much done. Because what conquers all the other senses according to Bhaktivinoda Thakur? Tongue. So as soon as they take prasadam, oh boom. Yeah. Now all the other senses are also arrested. And now the tongue becoming purified wants to speak about this and wants to chant whatever these people are chanting. Because when you went to the temple, you didn't know what was going on. Like I told the story, we were in Ghana. I told everybody that story about walking on the railroad tracks in the morning. We were all walking on the railroad tracks, and in that time in Ghana, we really didn't have a lot of different cloth. So we had this really bright cloth from a factory. It was white. And all the devotees, obviously, were dark-skinned devotees, and we got on tilak. But before we went to India that first time from Africa, we had tilak that we had locally. And this tilak was like a more white color, but at night it was almost like neon. So all of a sudden, it's like a whole group of people walking down. You could hear the like, and you could see the white marks, but you couldn't make out all the lights. So we go japa walk in the morning, 4:30, 5 o'clock, japa walking after Mangalarti or something, and people would be coming out to go to work. And so he was with me that morning, Shanta Maharaj, and the man came out from his house, and he just looked down, and then Maharaj, he was walking towards us.
On the railway line.
And so then Maharaj said, because we were friendly, he said, oh, excuse me, sir, come. That man turned around. And his mood was like, look, it's going to happen one day, but not today. Whatever it is, it's not going to happen today. So, anyways, the jiva's nature is like that. It's the tashta swabhav. Therefore, under the influence, he's conditioned from time immemorial. Now, this is what I didn't get to last week. I want to touch on a little bit before we open up for questions. And that's that the jiva's constitution is often spoke about by the acharyas And what happens when we hear about the constitution of the Jiva, because we live in time, we want to force the constitutional discussions to fit in time. Let me give you an example. How many times have we heard our Srila Prabhupada use the word original constitutional position? Right? Innumerable times. Right? When we think of original, we think something was original. That means it was the first thing in the time, then other things succeeded it. Right? But we're thinking about it in time. So when you hear your original constitutional position, most devotees think, oh, historically is what Srila Prabhupada is talking about. But it's not a historical discussion, because remember the word anadi means before time. There is no, you can't say in this context, when they're talking about the constitution of the Jiva, it's a historical conversation. Therefore, the idea, well, originally I was with Krishna and then became conditioned, it doesn't match. They don't even go together. That's not something you can put together. Do you understand why? Because the word anadi means there was no beginning to your conditioning. So any discussions about anything constitutional exist outside of time. So there's no historical event of being first here with Krishna, or even in the Brahma Jyoti, or this or that, then coming out and being here. The descriptions of the Jiva coming from Mahavishnu, they're called ontological discussions or ontological teachings. It's a description of how things are happening, but it's not a timeline event of how they happen. You understand the difference?
Like origin is not meaning the history. Origin is the
constitutional
where
reality.
It's from. It's like
right.
The found, like what it's from.
Right, exactly.
Its essence.
Exactly. But when we hear it in the context of things, we think,
History.
like Srila Prabhupada would say, originally we were with Krishna. Is that true or not? Constitutionally, absolutely. But historically, yes or no? No. And that's where the understanding has to be made between what is constitutional teaching and what is historical. Historically, we've always been conditioned. That's why we are called Nitya Bada. But in this case, Nitya Bada, Jiva Goswami says, means really Anadi Bada. Because no Jiva can be conditioned forever and ever and ever. It's not possible. So this is a very important thing to understand Siddhantas as you go along. Because many discussions refer to the constitution of the Jiva, the inherency of the Swarup, all these things. It refers to the constitution of the Jiva, not a historical arrangement. And if devotees are unable to understand how those two things work, it will lead to so much confusion. And that's what we've seen. Just like that, Facebook recently I was speaking with one devotee, and I said, if there is any chance that we fell from the spiritual world, there should be in Sastra. Jiva Goswami alone wrote 400,000 verses. Alone. How many verses in total of Sastra do you think there are? In the millions? Counting the Vedas, Puranas, Itihasas, millions of verses maybe? Is there not one example of somebody who fell? Not one. There's examples. I want to get to it. There's one example. There's so many examples. Let's say you had material desires. But having material desires, you went and practicing bhakti, all of your material desires fulfilled, and you went back to Godhead. Do we have an example in Sastra of that? Dhruva Maharaj. Right? He had material desires. His mother told him, well, if you want to fulfill desire, go to serve Bhagavan. Then his desire was fulfilled, right? Because when Bhagavan appeared before him, he said, oh, what I wanted was like broken glass. This is like the most valuable gem. Do we have an example that God will protect you in all circumstance? What's the example? So there's examples for almost every concept that you can think of in bhakti. Is there one example of falling from the spiritual world, having been in a relationship with Krishna, that's not a lila?
Sankachuda fell down.
Who?
Sankachuda.
First of all, even if we go with that, because Gurudev wasn't fond of this is some Puranic stories of cursing of Tulsi and all these things, but still it would be within the context of Leela, right? Because they're eternal associates. Now, one devotee in desperation, right? Because he was looking for weeks and weeks. I got it. What about the story that's mentioned by Nada, right? Speaking about the wife of Puranjana when she was lamenting after Puranjana died, she was lamenting, and one Brahmin appeared before her who was Bhagavan in disguise of a Brahmin, and he tells her, "Oh, you're my old friend. We were together, and then you turned and you left me." So isn't this an example of falling?
No, it's an allegory.
Bang! Immediately wrote back to him. Right in the verse. And in the purport, Prabhu says, Nada is telling Prakshina Bhari an allegorical story. Right? But what it did do, which he was unaware, what it did do was raise the actual truth about how Srila Prabhupada taught us. He taught us by using the allegory. And certainly it's proven in Sastra that acharyas can do this. Here's the example. Narada Muni himself used an allegory to explain the relationship ontologically of the jiva with Bhagavan. Leaving, turning away, all these things. He used that allegory to show how we have a constitutional relationship and our duty is to reestablish that relationship. But the reason it was an allegory because it's historically not possible. You understand? Now, and then I said, well, look, why don't you look at the story now of Nada and Maharaj Yudhisthira? Now, when Shishupal was killed by Krishna, his body merged into the lotus feet of Krishna, right? And Yudhisthira Maharaj witnessed it, right? So Yudhisthira Maharaj, that's amazing. How did that happen? What all went on? Narada Muni told me, he said, look, your cousin, Shishupal Dandavaka, formerly they were in Vaikuntha, they were eternal associates, and they were cursed to fall down. Maharaj used to cut it. I cannot understand how any kind of curse could affect the eternal residents of Vaikuntha. What kind of curse could make even the eternal associates of Bhagavan fall down? Then he concluded by saying, I don't believe this. I don't accept it. That's the difference. In talking to a pure devotee, Narada, and then look at the purports immediately Prabhupada writes after that. 7, Canto, chapter 1, text 34, and then text 35. Look at those two purports. Immediately Prabhupada says, yes, anyone having reached the board of the Lord never falls down. The very next one, he describes the whole thing, that unless there is something to be done on behalf of the Lord, it should be concluded no one falls from Vaikuntha. So Prabhupada establishes the Siddhanta clearly. Right? And then in the allegory, you see that Acharya sometimes will use an allegory to describe the constitution of the jiva and their relationship. Right? But it is an allegory. So now devotees will try to take the allegory and make it Siddhanta. That's the confusion. You understand? That becomes a confusion. To take the allegory and try to make it Siddhanta. To take the allegory and practice and realize, that's one thing. But to take the allegory and then make it a Siddhanta, right? So now we have one Siddhanta that goes around saying, well, look, no one falls from Vaikuntha, so we never left. We're all still there, actually. This becomes the epitome of Mayavad and Sahajavad. Because you're essentially saying, even though I'm in the eternally conditioned nature, I'm actually in Nityasiddha. That's Paka Sahajavad. And to say that, look, everything is basically one, I'm actually still there, and I'm here, and I'm everywhere, that's Mayavad.
Well, I've heard that you're there, but you're dreaming.
Yes.
This whole sojourn is a dream.
Right.
A nightmare.
It's a nightmare. So there's still nightmares in the spiritual world. So you may need that. So probably the pharmaceutical industry will have some marketing and go low for those sleep medicines and everything, because people are still having nightmares even when you get to go local Vrindavan. Right? It's a ridiculous idea. That's the reason devotees are saying that is because in one of those ontological discussions, also in Vedanta, to describe the state of Tatashta Swabhav, they say it is called Swapnastana. Swapnastana means a dream-like state. Devotees took that, oh yeah, I'm dreaming. No commentary, no study, I'm dreaming. Right? I won't even say what my wife said about that. I'll leave that alone. But Achyutananda sent me what I recommend. This is a great Sastric reference. Abbott and Costello. You gotta see this. Did you see that thing?
No, what?
Oh, nobody's here with a cell phone. I would show it on here.
I got it.
I saw it.
Oh, you saw it? Yeah, Achyutananda sent it to me. It's a whole take on the thing. Are you really here?
Oh, I've seen that.
Oh, you see? It's incredible. We can't show it on here, so we won't bring it up. But it's incredible. So this is kind of what's happening. I'm there, but I'm actually dreaming that I'm here. So my wife said, well, look, if I'm in Goloka Vrindavan, I'm actually with Krishna, and I've attained everything, somebody please wake me up. She didn't say it as nicely as that. But, you know, her thing was, please wake me up. You know, somebody just shake me or something, get me up, because this is crazy. Right? So this is the basic idea of how different things become conflated. You take one idea, and without guidance, see, this is the big thing. Without guidance, it becomes very difficult. Because Sastra study is mentioned clearly. Even if you could speak eruditely, even if you're very learned and intellectual, even Bahushrutena means you've studied all tikas, everything. If you don't get the guidance of some realized Vaishnava, not possible to understand Dandavasji. It's not possible to understand the things. So our attachment is to the lotus feet of Guru Dev, what conceptions he gives, and we try to look in Sastra to see how what Guru Dev has taught will illumine our heart. You understand? We cannot figure this out by intelligence. This is a big thing. So last week I didn't get to discuss so much what is constitutional versus what is historical and how they become conflated, how it leads to Apasiddhanta, etc., etc. So this template, though, is absolutely amazing because if you put this template on, everything becomes crystal clear. The jiva is conditioned from time immemorial, so there's no historical before your conditioning. But your conditioning will come to an end. That's the good news. Right? And for us, apparently, our conditioning is at least headed towards the end. Right? Because we've come under the shelter of any bona fide guru. Right? When we obtain liberation to any degree, that is ananta. It cannot be reversed. By aparad, it can be covered, but it cannot be reversed. Right? It's very rare that you can commit an aparad of such a nature that, if Vaishnava aparad is of this nature, all right, that the kripa can be uprooted and broken, according to Chaitanya Charitamrita. So we had to guard heavily against Vaishnava aparad. Right? But for the most part, it cannot be reversed. So it is ananta. It has a beginning but no end. Our constitution is nitya. So if Mahaprabhu said, Jivarasam Poya Krishna Nitya Das, me being Krishna Das must still be existing even while I'm conditioned. Because it has no beginning and it's not going to have an end. So where is it while I'm conditioned? Now you can look in Sastra and see, what is the meaning of being conditioned? Jai Shri Sachinandan Gaur Hari, Jai Shri Srila Govinda Dev, Jai Shri Gurudev, Shri Prabhupada, Shri Bhakti Gita Bhakti Goswami Maharaj, Jai. So, what is the meaning of being conditioned? Then Sastra explains, Avritta Swasarup Jnananam, that the jiva's knowledge of his swarup is covered, not the jiva himself. And I've already explained how. The TV screen, the impressions of the external energy, it covers our attention. This is what's called Bahya Mukata and looking towards Krishna, Krishna Mukata. It's not like somebody sitting up in space. Okay, it's your turn, Mukunda. I take a look down. No, first I look up, because everybody says the first they look at the spiritual world. So I looked up, I saw Krishna, I saw Radhika, Lalita, Sakya was going to Radhakund, one leader's going, Gurudev passed by. And then I said, hold on a second, I looked down, and I saw the Vegas Strip and what was going to be happening in New Year's at Times Square. And I said, well, let me think about it. And because I wanted to think about it, that committed an aparad that I was cast in. And that's the kind of stuff that starts to happen. I'm being facetious. But that's the kind of stuff that starts to happen. So, Gurudev mentioned that when the jivas come, they hit one side of a knife and fall one way or another. So there is no contemplation in it. Tatashta, I was looking at it, looked over here, think about it. Has anybody else ever been there? Anybody got any information on either place? You understand? Anybody got any booklets from either place? You know? So no, it's not like that. As soon as the jiva has any kind of indifference, which is what's explained in the article of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, but it's not in time. So we're not thinking, oh, his indifference was he looked, then became indifferent. No. That indifference is in the Tatashta Swabhav. Now, from Krishna's perspective, is it all good? Why is it all good for Krishna? It's the Leela of Krishna either way you go. If you come here, it is Krishna Srishti Leela. Krishna has so many avatars that come here. What do you think he tells Lakshmi Devi when he wants to come here? Oh, I gotta go, I'm sorry. The Jivas hear everything, I'm just going down. I mean, what do you want me to do? Leave them there suffering? You understand? So then Lakshmi's bound up, right? Because she can't say anything, right? So I'm just going to save Jivas. You don't want to save Jivas? You understand? So then, this gives the Lord so many excuses to come in so many different avatars to attract all the different devotees. You understand? And then Krishna, of course, he says, look, everybody else went, I have to stay here? Right? So then Krishna also comes himself. Then when Krishna comes himself, he realizes, oh, how beautiful it is saving so many devotees. But Krishna's Karun Shakti is not realized Karun Shakti. Because has Krishna ever experienced any suffering? Material suffering. No, he's never experienced any material suffering. Krishna doesn't know what is material suffering. Because he's not conscious of material suffering. So he says, how can I understand this? Devotees, because of the extremity of their Karun Shakti, they can vicariously understand something of material suffering. So if you want to understand material suffering, you should be a devotee. One more reason to become Mahaprabhu. But who has this kind of Karun Shakti in mass? Big quantities. Oh, Srimati Radhika. You know what? Anyways, besides the Karun Shakti thing, there's a few things about her I was always interested in anyway. Right? So then he starts contemplating what is all of the pranaya of Radhika, her moods, her love, her prem, her separation, her anubhavs, what kind of happiness she experiences, everything. Then he says, I want all of that. Oh, Baba, not as Vishaya Jati, you cannot do it. Can you make some arrangement? This arrangement, Yogamaya says, I have power to make so many arrangements for you. But this arrangement can only be made by Radhika herself. So then Radhika herself, out of her mercy, according to different pastimes, Gurudev told so many ways, she bestows, it's stolen so many different ways, right? Krishna obtains the mercy to experience the moods of Radhika. Therefore, he comes as Mahaprabhu. In the feature of Mahaprabhu, he can identify somewhat with the suffering of the jivas. And especially because he's surrounded by so many devotees. You understand? The embodiment of the original principle of Jiva Shakti is also there. Who is that? Nityananda, because Baladev is the origin of all Jiva Shakti. So as Nityananda, he's there. He can identify, what jivas go through. Therefore, when Mahaprabhu said to go out and preach, who did he want to approach? Jagai and Madai. That wasn't Haridas Thakur's idea. That was that was Nityananda Prabhu's idea because he can identify. You understand? There's suffering. Let's go get the most suffering ones. And Haridas Thakur said, well, can we work our way down? Let's do college preaching first. Go to universities first and work our way down. Nityananda went straight to the most fallen because he can identify. You understand? And this made Mahaprabhu so happy. You understand? So Mahaprabhu does two things simultaneously. Prem rasniyas karite ashradan ragamag bhakti loke karite prachan. He tastes the mood of Radhika, prem rasniyas, and he distributes rag mark, beginning with saving the jivas from their condition. There's no question of rag mark in conditional life. Gradually he raises them. Another thing this does is prove that Krishna can go from the highest kind of ras, Maranakya Mahabhav. He can associate with Maranakya Mahabhav down to the most fallen condition of Jagai Madai. This is the expanse of Krishna's ability to accommodate a ras. He's Rasavai Saha. If he can only accommodate Maranakya Mahabhav, he's not completely Rasavai Saha. So what ras will Krishna get coming here? This is Karun ras. 5 Mukhya ras, 7 secondary ras. This Karun ras Krishna will taste in the mood of Mahaprabhu and through all of his associates, saving so many jivas. Yes. I'm sorry it ran a little bit late. All right, any short questions? If not, Kirtan, and then Jaya Sachinandan Jaya Gaura Hari Jaya Sachinandan Jaya Gaura Hari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Jaya Jaya Gurudev 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 Jaya Gurudev Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Prabhupada Gaur Premanande Dhanavad to all devotees Vachakapatra Vishakri Pashuna Dhanavad devotees on the telephone. Thank you so much. Haribol.
We have some prasadam if devotees want to take before they go. Some prasadam.
Is this somebody standing here? Yeah. Oh, sorry, did he? Okay.
Okay, yeah, okay.
Where's Madonna?
Actually, yeah. Yesterday he went Ubering.
Oh, okay.
So he came late.
Late. Oh, because last night was good work. Probably. Yeah.
And he actually Vedanta Sutta came there and we were talking from about 5 till about 7. And then, what's his name? The owner of our house.